And this is the best class just because they're the best looking cars. This is Vintage Trans Am, or VTA. I am the penultimate, and this is actually kind of funny because the marshal's trying to fix the body because one of the body clips on one of my friend's cars. So my friend, one of them's in front, the other one's behind, but he doesn't hear that we're about to go on the tone. So the tone goes off, and he's there. Actually, it wasn't much. He managed to drop the car. We just had a slow start, I guess. But here we go. So I'm still in the penultimate. I'm behind the blue car, so the blue Camaro, not that you can really tell. That is my friend, and then the white Camaro with that orange stripe, that's another buddy. But here we go. Now, I'll be honest, I have not had such a hard time getting traction, as you can see, in the past races. So, I don't know, maybe I just need to clean my tires. Yes, I do run dirty tires. No, I do not sauce them or do any magical tricks and use fairy dust, although maybe I should because everybody else does. So one of my friends just crashed back there to the right. Here I go. One quick little note, if you're scrubbing speed, if you're drifting, I should say, you're scrubbing speed, so you're better off just slowing down, which is something that I tried doing. Now, my goal is to at least try to catch up with one of my friends and just have a nice little battle. Spoiler, it's not gonna happen. And it's not gonna happen, not that I don't catch up to him, just that battle's never going to happen. Now, one thing that I am going to note is I am running a different motor in the past races, past seasons, actually since last year. I've been running a Trinity X Factor 25.5. And the very last race, so if you look at the previous one, pass my friend again, my FDR used to be a 3.64, I believe. Now my FDR is a 3.5. Actually, it was less, it was a 3.7 before. Now it's a 3.5. The motor runs cooler, so the slot machine, which is what I'm running now, runs cooler than the RevTech. With the RevTech, in order to keep temperatures at a decent range, I had to run a 3.7 FDR. That was a 92 spur with a, 47 pinion. Now I'm running the same spur, but I'm running a 50 pinion. And the motor's decent temperature. And keep in mind that today is an incredibly hot day. It is approximately 100 degrees Fahrenheit, about 38 Celsius, and the motor's running cool, whereas the RevTech, that would have been iffy. Now, here, I am losing some time because I have to get out of the way. I just have to get faster, and the funny thing is that I complete 25 laps, and every time I get out of the way, I lose time, which is normal. The guy that ends up one position ahead of me, he manages 27, so that'll give you an idea of how bad I did. I still managed 7th place out of 10 cars, but the crazy thing is that the top, I think it was the top 2 or the top 3 drivers at least, did 30 laps, so there was no contest, there was no catching up to the top 3 guys. Nobody could. 6 could not, I mean obviously. 5th, they could not. 4th, I don't even think 4th was close. So that gives you an idea. So for me, it just felt like I was getting out of the way the entire time. But any tips and tricks on traction so far, just to give you an idea, I'm running the same setup I was running before, which is 2 degrees toe front. I actually went to 2.5 in the rear to try to get a little more traction. The front, I have 1 degree toe out. Now that's 1 degree each side. There I get stuck. That's one of the things that kills me too. Maybe I would have been able to get 26 laps if I didn't screw up so much. Let's see, the rear toe in, I went to 3 degrees. I was running 2 during the qualifiers, decided to go 3 for this final race. I'll get out of the way again. But so far, like I said, I do like the track. The thing that I find interesting though is how smooth this motor feels, because they're both made by Trinity. It's the same rotor, right? This is a 25.5, motor's interchangeable, they didn't replace that. But it does feel a little smoother and it runs a lot cooler, especially for the temperature outdoors, which is one of the things that I'm wondering. I'm wondering if it will have the torque for me to gear this thing to the moon, because if the temperature drops a significant amount, which it probably should, because we're heading into, we're in autumn now and eventually heading into winter, should be able to run maybe a 54. I just don't know if it will have the torque to handle it. But to be honest, that's the least of my worries. Who cares about the motor if you don't have traction? Traction is the most important thing. You can have no traction, a really fast motor, you're not really going anywhere compared to a slower motor and good traction. Maybe I just need new tires. To be honest, these tires, they have, oh God, I've had them for a long time, at least 3, maybe 4 series on the rear ones. The front ones I actually replaced because the previous pair, they were wearing down, so they were actually gripping too much. So these may actually be worn to the point where they no longer grip, or just need to clean them. But again, setups open to suggestions. Oh, that's right. The other thing that I have is the rear is slightly narrower. It's 0.5 millimeters on each side narrower, so overall 1 millimeter narrower than it would normally be, because I replaced the hubs, but I've been running that for a long time. And in the front, just so the front wheels don't scrape, I have the 0.75 millimeter on each side, so that the wheels can clear the steering arm, which is a little thing that I had to do, even though I didn't want to. I kind of wanted that narrow front end, but we will see. I think probably if I just make the rear wider again, it'll probably slow down rotation. That's a possibility. I wish I could make the front narrower, but I cannot. If you do know about a different part number for the steering arms, let me know. I'd like to hear about it, only because I'd like to purchase some, unless I modify these further or something. But other than that, it's a fun little race, so I don't get the battle. I forget what place my buddy ends up in, but I do get 7. He probably got 8th or 9th, but still really good, fun. Consider VTA, not because it's the fastest, definitely not the fastest, it just looks cool. That's honestly why. This is at Norcal Hobbies. This was a very technical track. Maybe that's why my setup is just not for the technical tracks. The other tracks were not as technical. It's my driving. I just need to slow down. That's the reality. But here we go. Here comes the pack. Time for me to prepare to get out of the way once again. But like I said, I still enjoy it. It's still a fun class. And keep in mind that it's very different than sportsman in the sense that you're running against experts in this. They don't have different level classes. So it's alright if you lose. Just have some fun. Now, the race is almost over. But one thing I forgot to mention is that we're actually running in the inverse direction, so we're running left on the straightaway instead of right. It's part of the VTA rules, but it was kind of crazy because we haven't done this in a long time, and of course this technical, getting used to going right. So if you look at the straight, instead of going right, we went left. It took some getting used to. I wish I had some time to practice, but that was it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching.
What? Oh, my hair! My tongue! My rod!